We will be kicking off the Summer Freedom Sessions, and I have got a world of fire to bring for you today. So if you have been hot in the summer, or if you've been feeling, you haven't quite got your fire lit up, well, this is the place. This is exactly where you can get your fire lit to claim your freedom. I am Melanie McCool. And so I want to welcome you to the Summer Freedom Sessions. This is a place where we get to claim freedom. And I am actually all about reclaiming words. And reclaiming the word freedom is one that I am really excited for you to grasp today. Because freedom, for me, may mean what it means for you or not. And I appreciate you. So appreciate you, those who are here live, and those who are here on the replay. Perhaps you're just catching the vibe. You're catching the understanding that things are a bit different around here, that we do things in a way that can shake you up. And I do intend to shake you up, but not in the typical way. Okay. You may have been to many events where there was lots of rah-rah and hype and no substance. And I promise you today, there is all the substance and none of the hype. In fact, I'm going to ask you to take a nice deep breath down into your belly and be open. As they say, a mind works beautifully when it's open, right? Parachute, open. And if it's closed, if you've got that ego mind, the one that wants to keep you small and the same here in the room with us, it's time to kind of make it take a hike. And the best way to do that is to take a few slow, deep breaths down into your belly and say, I'm here with an open mind. And so you can just let me know that you're taking those slow, deep breaths and you're here with an open mind. Beautiful. All right. So I have a question. And that is, have you wondered why some people seem to have it easy? Right? They seem to find it so easy to move their lives into a place of health, wealth, and happiness, moving to six figures and beyond. And meanwhile, you may find yourself struggling day after day, year after year, working yourself to death, and it may feel like you've hit a glass ceiling, right? So for some people, the dream life seems easy to grasp, but for others, it's like the dream life you've envisioned is always in the future, far out of reach, right? And even if you have done really well for yourself in life, you may have the experience of not having any time to enjoy it. And if that's been your experience, you can just let me know that time is something you'd really love to have the freedom to enjoy. Time freedom. Because if you're in business, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, and you started with a vision to live that juicy dream life, and instead it feels like you're anything but on the path to freedom, right? In fact, you may feel like you're kind of stuck, stagnant, imprisoned by this business that you started. Yeah. So I'm going to ask, what does freedom mean to you? Talk about reclaiming words and what freedom means to you. Because freedom is my primary driver. And I don't know that I've shared this so much with those of you who are here and those of you who are watching for the first time, certainly wouldn't know. But my primary driver, since I was very small, and I'll be getting into why that is very shortly here, has been to be free, that nothing, no one ever would stop me from living the life that I choose. I truly have this complete understanding that I am meant to live free. And my desire for freedom is what had me start my entrepreneur journey back in 2000, right? And it compelled me to push back past the limiting perceptions that I had, the perceived limitations that I had on my life. And believe me, I had every reason to have a completely different outcome in this life. In a few minutes, I'll be sharing with you some of the gruesome details of my childhood. I've got them in bullet points here so that I don't chicken out to share them. Okay. And it's ultimately the things that led me to this work. And some of you may think you know some of this story, and you do, especially those of you who are closest to me. And others, I know this will be the very first time that I'm sharing some of these things that I've hidden in shame for most of my life. And so knowing that those very things are ultimately what led me here, right here, to the work of freeing adults from the chains that bind so that they're free to live a fully joyful and prosperous life. Prosperity meaning all of the ways that we can enjoy this life here on planet Earth, right? And so I want to know what freedom means to you. I'm going to rattle off a few things here that are important to me as to what freedom means. And if you resonate with any of these, I just want you to drop them in the comments, okay? So when I think of freedom, I have a very real sense of being free from the matrix, free from society's bullshit rules, free from labels, free from, and ultimately, if we have to put a word on it, because this government thing is kind of a new way that, you know, newer in the history of man, I should say, way that we lose freedom, right? So free from governmental control, free from anyone having any say over how I get to take care of my family in terms of their wellness. So that would be free. And I just was talking to someone today with the same crap that I've dealt with in the past, free from insurance companies dictating what doctors and care I can seek for myself and for my family. And freedom to seek the health care I know is best for my family, that I know is best. For medical freedom really is an incredibly important thing for me. And if any of those resonate with you, I want to know. Or how about free to buy the good, clean food that I know is best for my family, even as prices rise exponentially right now? Free from the fear and anger right now that is gripping people as gas prices rise. Inflation is rising, alarming levels, right? Free from anger and fear, from feeling like you aren't free. And if you can relate to any of those specifically, let me know if your head has been spinning in fear around any of those things, or if you can resonate with me in this desire for freedom. It's when I came up with this series, essentially download hit me, Summer Freedom series 3 weeks ago. I really had no idea what was going to transpire on the 24th of June. And I had no idea that the message for today was more important than ever. And what I'll tell you is what I've understood since I was very small. Don't ask me how I understood. It's pretty obvious probably from the way that the world works, but wealth is power. And your dollars vote. And it is part of my philosophy here in my work that essentially I help good people to make more money because good people do good things with their money. Indeed, money rules. It's just the way of the world. And sometimes we've got to play by those rules, but play it in a way so that we can win. And I am all about fighting for what I want, not against anything. So having your dollars to vote is an incredibly important aspect of freedom. And so this is my driver to be wealthy. It's really because I have a heart. I seriously have these deep wounds in me that I think I carry for humanity, for the injustices that are on planet Earth, essentially, that only our wealth can fix. Freedom takes wealth. And wealth enables you to be free from external control. Okay. And we have this, we've been duped. Okay. We've been duped that if you're middle class, upper middle class, you're just fine. That's essentially even more under control, or maybe not more, but definitely still under control. And there is a need to pop way above that to actually have an impact on this planet. And we do that together. So what I understand is that wealth, it allows you to be free from external control, okay, and free from the conditioning that would keep you fearful and small. And truthfully, that conditioning, which is what we're going to be talking about here today, this is programmed for prosperity. This is all about the underlying programming that we're dealing with, and how to be free from the matrix actually has everything to do with what's going on between your ears. Okay. Conditioning is a bitch. Okay, so self-limiting beliefs about yourself, right, and your place in the world ultimately keeps you stuck. Keeps you stuck in fear and anxiety around money, in this fear and lack and scarcity consciousness. It keeps you engrossed in deadly hustle culture. If you know my story of burnout to breakthrough, listen, I'm going to call it deadly hustle culture, okay? And ultimately, those self-limiting beliefs that keep you stuck in the matrix. It's anything but empowering. And so these summer freedom sessions, they were born to actually show you, give you the keys to freedom. And I must give you the keys to freedom. And the time is now. Now, these are the keys to be free from anxiety around money. So again, if any of these are your issue, and as I looked at the poll I did in the group yesterday, I was really grateful to see your responses and to understand more what other people are experiencing. And anxiety around money and self-sabotage were the top issues, along with shame, anger, fear, and shame for not being as far along as you feel you should be. Okay. So if any of those are yours, I can totally relate, but I can also tell you this is the most common, and it all has everything to do with what's going on between here. So let me know if you'd like the keys to be free from anxiety around money. You're free to actually be authentic, to live your authentic self, to speak your mind freely, to actually do what you want to do instead of something that you thought you had to do, or you would be a good, honorable, lovable member of society if you did, right? To do those things instead. Free from the witch wound. And I'm going to be going more into this. Would you like to be free of the witch wound? Free from hustle culture? Free from this push, gotta get it done. You'll sleep when you're dead because it's going to kill you. I promise. Would you like to be free to see more opportunities to make money with less work? Ooh, got those keys. And truly, ultimately, to be free, to be self-supporting instead of self-sabotaging. If being self-supporting, and just put a hand on your belly and one on your heart, take a deep breath. If being self-supporting sounds like a really good path for you, feels like a really good path for you, let me know. Because these keys are going to help you to rise above any idea that you're under the control of anything outside of you. Okay. We have the ability to change our programming. And Alethea, I love the word mindset, but what we do here is so much deeper than mindset. Okay, we can call it mindset. I'm all about that. Yeah, because obviously a sabotaging mindset is the big piece of this. But this is so much more than just mindset. It's actually every bit of you at the core of your being set. Okay. So I'm going to tell you how you can get your programming, the actual every part of you, your core level of your being self-supporting instead of self-sabotaging. I mean, wouldn't it be amazing if you had an entire body yes when you were making decisions? You knew your higher self was actually working to help you to have the life that you envision, so that you can be truly wealthy and free from fear, and free to act from that wonderful higher self that's telling you what it is that you're meant to do to have an impact on this planet. Do you, those of you who are here, have a burning desire in your belly to do something that you know just blesses humanity, or blesses the environment, or blesses animals? There's a blessing in you that isn't being expressed as much as it could be. Any of you relate to that? So over the next few minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you understand exactly what the keys are, so that you can free your mind, your body, your spirit, so that you can actually have that impact that you so desire, so that you can do and have and be what you want on this, or in this planet, without ever sacrificing what you love. So essentially having more wealth to do the things that, well, wealth allows you to do, but without sacrificing health, happiness, love, joy, time freedom, right? So you can experience, I love these. Please tell me what your good money is going to go to. Thank you, Chris. Yes. Tell me what your good dollars are going to do. Because we can work on this. You can actually free your mind to allow yourself to earn the wealth without more work, right? So that you can have not only the success, but happy success, right? Deliriously happy success, and more time to do the things that actually bring you joy. And listen, anything else but following my advice really isn't health, freedom, and success, though, isn't it? So as we have the uncommon secret to success right here, I've got the uncommon secret to success. And thankfully, even though it's uncommon, and even though it's not widely used or available, not everybody has the tools, it can work for everyone. In fact, listen, as I'm going to tell you in a minute, if it worked for me, right? It worked for me. And some of my toughest clients, it will work for you. All right. So these are really the same techniques that are used by high performers, the highest performers, by peak performance worldwide, including, our Olympians and astronauts. This is widely used by, you could say, by the elite, or by the, what actually drives the most advanced areas of science and performance on the planet. And it's available to you. And it's available to you at a ridiculous fraction of the price, right? So, and it's been used, applied, proven. This is not theory, okay? This is proven, applied by myself and my clients. And listen, if you have been in Program for Prosperity in the lounge anytime over the last 3 years, would you just drop me a, hey, I'm here, and give us something about your experience that lets people know that this is for them, okay? Because these techniques, they can absolutely be applied by everyone, so that you know that you can actually make more money with less work, so that there's more time to enjoy the wealth created. And listen, for those of you who are here for the first time, and those of you who are have any of my programs or on my list too, I do have a gift for you. I have a gift. So if you'd like a gift, I'm going to give you a little piece of this technology. Just a little piece of this technology. And all you're going to do is #focus, and we'll make sure that you get that little piece of this technology that's available to you. It's the same technology that I use to set goals in the midst of freaking chaos in the world and have them come to fruition almost to the penny, where I really wish I'd made a goal darn bigger. You know what I'm saying? So if you'd like that gift, just hashtag focus in the comments. We'll make sure you get it. Awesome. So listen, if you are experiencing anxiety around money, self-sabotage, that nasty inner critic, raging inner critic that's got you, if you've got that thing we call comparisonitis eating you up, right? Or if imposter syndrome, isn't that one that everybody talks about all the time? Imposter syndrome. And even if you find yourself, especially after everything we've been through with anxiety, that doesn't seem to be letting up and getting worse, or if it's going all the way to depression, insomnia, all of these issues are absolutely the key. The uncommon secret to success that we have here can help you with all of those things, and also chronic pain. Right? I've had clients come through the Prosperity Lounge to tell us that, because we don't work on chronic pain specifically, exactly pointed at it in the lounge, but to tell me that, shoulder pain that had been a problem for years, with physical therapy and chiropractic work and lots of different, shots and all kinds of things. Poof. I've had other more miraculous health things come out of the Zoom, out of the Zoom room. Yeah. Out of the lounge as well. Chris, oh, this is so for you. This is so for you. So, and I'll also tell you that all of those issues, the things that I just talked about, they're actually also causing you to repel money, right? It's making your life much harder than it needs to be. And it's not your fault, right? It's literally the brain. I say the brain, I say the mind. I also just call it the thinker. And I want you to have an understanding that I'm in great, I'm in awe of this incredible brain. It is great at, being the pharmacy for the body. And it's incredible. Otherwise, I couldn't be doing this right now. However, there's some things that you just understand about the mind and the thinker that we work on very specifically here in the Prosperity Lounge. And that is, and I'm going to give it to you in a way that is beautiful to understand. The Aborigines have, they say we have 3 brains, and we do. You've got a gut brain, lots of neurons in there. You have the heart brain, again, whole world of neurons in there that speak to and tell this brain what it's meant to make for the body, right? And if you've been through my Bliss Challenge, then you are familiar with heart coherence work, let me know. This is familiar. And the gut and the heart tell this brain what to do. This brain, they use the same word for the brain as they do for a tangled fishing net. Same word. And I'll also tell you, I wish I had this in my notes right now. There's the word that the Native Americans used for white people when they came over was essentially a word that meant crazy, because they think with their head and not with their heart. Native people have, the Native Americans have a word, shante, ishta, right? And it means to think with the single eye of the heart. And if you allow this mind to run the show, it is a wonderful servant, this brain. It works for the gut and for the heart really well. And if you've got control of it, it's an amazing servant, but it's a really crappy master. And we weren't taught this in the Western world. In fact, it's like the opposite was taught to us. We were taught education, get all this brain education in, right? Not that education's bad either. I'm a freaking constant learner. But we have put all of the emphasis on the thinker, on the brain. And actually, it's the very brain, the programming, that causes the havoc. It's the programming that was laid down when you were really small that has been laying the havoc in your life. It's just running in the background. And so if you've struggled through to break the glass ceiling, right, in your mind, it's because this programming has worked against you. And I think of this as poverty programming, and you can think of it as impoverished programming, because yes, some of it absolutely has to do with your beliefs about yourself and the world around money. Okay, not a problem, not a question. But it's also just impoverished programming. These are the underlying programs about yourself, your place in the world, and whatever the limiting beliefs are they cause you to essentially have a foot on the brake in your life. And if you've been in my Unlock the Money in Your Mind workshop, then some of this will be familiar to you. And if you haven't gone through the Unlock the Money in Your Mind workshop, you can go ahead and hashtag UMM. And we'll make sure you have that, because it's really foundational to understanding how you can and will be able to just make this a thing in the past. So if you have been, then you may be familiar with some of the common money blocks, as we call them. Things like beliefs like it takes harder work to earn money. I have to sacrifice my health for success. I can either have a successful career or a love life, right? Or you may be familiar with how the inner critic works, that kind of impoverished thinking, the nasty inner critic who says things like, who do you think you are? Or money isn't for people like you, for us, people like us. You're not good enough to make that kind of money. Or rich people are jerks. You don't want to be a jerk. So it keeps you from charging what you should be. You're overqualified and underpaid. That's a program running. And so all of these negative beliefs, they can be hiding under the surface. And regardless, listen, regardless of the amount of personal and professional development that you've done, or certifications, the licenses, all the money you've invested into yourself, listen, I really lost track. I can't imagine. In just the last 2 years, I've invested probably 130,000 into myself. And that's just the last couple of years. I've been at this for more than 20. So regardless of how much though you invested yourself, if you have those money blocks, you still got to break on your potential. The beautiful thing is when you get rid of the blocks, when you invest in yourself, you can know that you're actually going to apply what you've invested in. I tell people all the time that I don't want you to invest in this unless you are committed to yourself to actually make it work for you, right? So if you haven't done this inner work, then it's like you have one foot on the gas. With all the conscious work that you've done to earn more, with the others on the brake because of this sneaky poverty programming. But actually, as we debug the system, right, as we do this work to debug the system by removing the poverty programming and install wealth programming, well, you'll find that it's much easier to increase your income in ways that you couldn't even have imagined before were possible. I have clients with such amazing stories, and it's incredible to see what people do. We work for 10 weeks in the lounge, by the way, over 10 weeks. But what's even more just incredible to me is to see the stories that unfold in the coming months after. This is like, it's like you're walking around with a big fat flat tire in your life, and you know it is. It's an area of your life that you just know needs to fix, okay? And once you fix this flat tire, You have no idea where your car gets to go and do. You've been driving around with a flat tire your whole life, right? And it's amazing because then you'll find yourself with the gas and the full car of tires to take the action that will enable you to actually manifest the juicy dream life you've envisioned, right? And you can do this. You can develop the wealth habits so that it's easy to grow your income. And listen, stop. I don't want you to get too excited about your future. All right. But anything less than that following my advice really isn't health, freedom, or success, isn't it? I mean, you could go back to scrolling through the feed and feeling horrible because others seem to have it easy, or you could remain in confusion about, what next whiz bang strategy is required for your business, right? Or you could allow yourself to hit the easy button. Where's my easy button, man? Here, we'll call this an easy button. Hit the easy button. Right? To get your subconscious mind on board to support you. So you can apply everything you've already learned. Imagine that. Imagine if all of the courses, all the preparations, all the certifications, all of the how-to that you've got in this library mind of yours was suddenly free to be applied. If that procrastination problem was a thing of the past, right? And listen, I am not talking from theory. I'm talking from experience. And I'm talking about processes that are available for everyone, regardless of where you are. Because I did not grow up wealthy. In fact, I grew up in an incredibly dysfunctional home, and I experienced much trauma in my youth, and that is trauma with a capital T. Okay. And are you familiar with the ACE score study? You can just drop it down. Okay. And ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. And what they do is they study, and they noted that those who have high ACE scores they're linked to health problems as adults, and actually other problems as well. And you can see this is me now. Whew. My score is a 10, the highest score. But that's not a good thing. Okay. It's really not. You want a low score. You want a no score. You want a no score for your family, for your kids. Trust me. Because the more ACEs you have, the greater your risk of chronic disease, mental illness, violence, and being a victim of violence as an adult. Okay. So in other words, my early life circumstances were anything but those that should lead me to where I find myself today. In other words, if circumstances determine my destiny, I certainly wouldn't be here with you today. I spent most of my life actually hiding the shame that I felt of having grown up with people who suffered from real psychiatric illnesses. And that's things like depression, addicts, a sociopath, narcissistic personality disorder. And I am not throwing these words around in some whatever fashion. People throw around these words, sociopath, psychopath, narc, all the time. And I mean those that actually have a diagnosis, right? Bona fide DSM, mental illness. And I actually spent most of my life hiding from the outside world, what I'd experienced, and escaping the conditioning of my youth. I spent most of my life eradicating the beliefs that have been passed to me. Okay, the kinds of things that the kinds of beliefs that my family held and would have perpetrated that had them in absolute misery. Okay, and I escaped the cycle of mental illness and of abuse. I actually, is everybody here still with me? Let me know you're with me. I need a hug out there. Would y'all give me a hug right now? Thank you. I knew I was gonna Find this one. But really, all of that, it led me to where I am today. I did so much work from a very young age. I began studying psychology, personal development, spirituality. I began to study the ways that people found peace on planet Earth from a very young age. And early on, I just knew that there was a better way to live. And I'm really grateful I had the inner perseverance and I lived to find it. And actually, in all actuality, I have been studying and using the methods of self-hypnosis that I now teach. Okay, so I'm a certified master trainer of hypnosis, but I've been using self-hypnosis since I was 11 or so. I had major insomnia. What's insomnia from? It's not just, oh, I can't sleep, okay? I had, I would clench my jaw at night and I couldn't sleep. I had fearful thoughts and anxiety running through my head, and I used self-hypnosis to cure my insomnia. At 13, I learned from a teacher I will always be grateful for, something we call mental rehearsal, which is another form of self-hypnosis. And it changed my life. I mean, I went on to use that. I believed her. I knew there was a truth to it. She told me that this is something that astronauts and Olympians and actors and top performers use. She might have used different language back in, the 80s, but I did it, and I won the trip, and I got to go to San Francisco and put flowers in my hair. And so that was an actual pivotal point. I never, ever let that slide as one of the tools I got to use to change my life. At 16, I actually went to the dentist and had dental work without any Novocaine at all. I used self-hypnosis. Yeah, it's wild. And now I actually am a medical and dental hypnotherapist, and I could technically, and I'm certified to, have somebody go through dental work or a medical procedure without any anesthesia at all, or pain. Yeah, actually, pretty amazing, huh? So I've been using this stuff for a long time, and I don't know that I would have if it hadn't been so hard. We have this whole understanding that our life story is actually our life's work, and so it really rings true for me. And it's also why I feel like I've lived every one of my clients' lives in some way. So flash forward to college, I went to Rutgers University in New Brunswick, and I actually enrolled in psychoneurobiology because I was certain that I wanted to help people who suffered, right? The language then was all around, your brain chemistry being off, and they were studying neurotransmitters and all these things. I really wanted to help. I wanted to help those who suffer so bad. It still breaks my heart. The ways that I'd seen in my own family. And unfortunately, I couldn't stomach the research track, right? So it involved vivisection, and I was way more into preserving the environment, as I still am, than I was into possibly ever actually experimenting on monkeys, on primates. So there's no way in the world I could do that. So I just turned my back on it, said, nope, can't do that. And I was like, I'm going to save the dolphins instead. So I actually changed my degree to ecology and evolution. And I went down that path. I have my heart is absolutely for preserving ethno and biodiversity. So my degree was a concentration, ecological consultant was what I came out of there with a concentration in genetics. And genetics is a passion that I've continued to follow. Right, I'm now very deep into the science of epigenetics. And if you're familiar with this work, I'd love to know that you have an understanding of epigenetics. Just drop me a comment and write the word epigenetics. I love to know who here in my tribe is into this stuff. Right. And then I'll say, as a hypnotherapist, I actually consider myself an epigenetic reprogrammer. And you could ask me how. But really, the fact is, all of that prepared me for this work, the work of giving the keys to freedom to my clients. I mean, people absolutely fascinate me. Give me all of the anthropology, all the psychology, all the behavioral ecology. These are all areas that they keep me absolutely enthralled. I'm actually somewhat obsessed with what's possible when the desire for a change in a person is strong. Totally obsessed with it. I suppose because my desires were so strong, right? To not only survive in the conditions I found myself born into, but to thrive. And you could actually say I've been studying the neuroscience of success and these extraordinary techniques to program the mind for more than 20 years, lots more than 20 years, since I was a kid. But as I've been in my career as an entrepreneur, a speaker, trainer, teacher, leader, that neuroscience of success has been what I have been learning and teaching. And over that time, I have worked with thousands of people, okay, all over the world. And I saw the same powerful self-sabotage patterns. It would be like these people would do everything right. They would be learning, trying to apply, and then boom, that subconscious programming overpowering and self-sabotaging their success over and over again. And I now recognize those patterns as being that programming, that poverty programming, that impoverished programming, the limiting beliefs on the subconscious level of mind. And these are patterns that I learned to overcome through the methods that have allowed me to earn millions in my businesses. And I'm really not telling you that to brag. I'm telling you that because, if I can break the glass ceiling in my mind, you can. And if my clients have as well. So if the glass ceiling in your mind has kept you from really breaking through, then I'm uniquely positioned to help. And my programs are actually designed to help you in ways that others just can't touch, right? I absolutely escaped the poverty programming of my youth. And now I'm thrilled to say that as the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist, the methods that I use are now helping others, just like you, to unlock the money in their minds and to be free, to have a joy, live their dream life. This is really my heart, right? So you can ask yourself, why haven't you been seeing the results? When you've been doing all the conscious work, the trainings, the certs, your licenses. Well, if your habits are run by your subconscious programming, then your old programming is just recreating what you've already known. If you look around your life, then what you see is a result of the underlying programming. That programming are the thoughts that run through your mind 24/7. Those thoughts, they create certain feelings in you. Depending on what those feelings are, if they are negative, if they're around that fear and anxiety, scarcity, self-sabotage, or the comparisonitis, imposter syndrome, feeling like you should be a lot further along, all of those are going to put a foot on the brake. So your thoughts and the feelings create the action or inaction. That's the foot on the brake, which create your habits. And your habits are, they create your life. And so the solution to all of this is to changing at the level of subconscious thought. There's no real other way to do this, okay? All of the outside work is kind of like putting cream on your skin, on your belly, if you've got a stomach ache, right? If you're trying to put the conscious stuff on, it's like going on the outside. And it takes freaking way too long to do that, all right? This is instead something that it's incredibly fast because it's effective. It's like you're going straight to the problem, and it takes less than 15 minutes a day. You could do conscious work for 20 years. I could tell you you could do it for a really long time. And ultimately I became a hypnotherapist because I realized that this was the easy button, because this takes 15 minutes a day to reprogram your mind for success. And this is not simple affirmations, meditations. It's definitely not magical thinking. All right. You may have experienced enough of these things to know that isn't quite doing the trick, right? You've probably done all kinds of things. But the reason it doesn't do the trick is because if you don't first debug the system and you're really just arguing with the programming that's there, it's really stressful. It's like having one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake. What's that do to an engine? Oh. And those affirmations, they feel like lies, don't they? Yeah. But what if you first change the underlying programming? What if you did that? I wonder what it would be like if you evicted the poverty programming, the impoverished programming, if the inner critic was gone, and then you introduced wealth programming. Like my client Donna, who set her resignation date when we worked together, resigned from a toxic work situation to be a successful real estate agent and to work in her passion as a life coach. Okay. Or you might find yourself attracting clients with ease with like half the work, earning twice as much money, with half the time, like Jennifer, right? So I have a guest here that we'll be bringing on in a moment. And I'm really excited for you to hear from her. She's special. She's a special person. And she's actually, she's my retreat manager. She's somebody who takes extraordinary care of people. So we'll be hearing from her in a moment. But I would just want to say that at this point, you could just ignore the new understanding you have that working at the level of the subconscious is the easy button. You could ignore it. You could say, oh, this lady's crazy. Not. Or you could go it alone. You could continue to watch the free content that I provide, or even taking my online self-guided course. You could do that. Or you could accelerate your success in ways you didn't know were possible. And if you do want to earn more with less work and accomplish more in the next 6 months than most people do in years, I may be able to help. And if that's the case, then in a moment, I'm going to invite you to say yes to your yes, right? To allow yourself to book a call with me. If you're feeling like you want to talk to me, do it, and do it now. Listen, if you're getting that inner yes, it's all the more important to listen to your higher self right now than ever. The time is now. You can either do what we're going to do together and have a different outcome, or you could put it off. One of the biggest forms of self-sabotage is actually putting it off. Putting it off to when you have more time, more money, when you've signed a couple more clients, whatever that nonsense is, right? When this is the key to actually having more time, money, and happily getting those clients with ease, right? And if you put it off, then, we can virtually guarantee that those thoughts are going to remain the same. Then the feelings, the actions, the habits, your life. So you can see the same life in 6 months or a different one. It's your choice. But I'm going to ask you to start making those decisions right now from the level of the higher self. Stop letting the lower self, the self that's keeping you small, run the show. Your mind is an amazing servant. It's a horrible master, right? So if you want to step into that new you in the autumn, right? When we think about the time when we get to go to work in the fall, and that is really one of the most profitable time in business. And this is when you get to step into the profit season in power, right? When you know how to manifest your juicy dream life. I do want to just touch on who this is for, okay? Who's my work for? It's super important that you understand that the types of women that I work with, they are the kind of women who have found themselves having pushed through extraordinary things in life, right? They're the kind of, I love the word ambitious. Some people have a problem with the word ambitious, especially women. People have a problem with the word ambitious. But it really is for ambitious type A overachievers, right? The type of women who find themselves, though, now perhaps at a loss as to how to earn more, how to actually have the impact they want to have, how to have the money to do more good in the world, right? Without killing themselves or sacrificing more of what they love. Okay. That's who this is for. And this isn't for people who are looking for the magic dust. Okay. I am not the magic dust peddler. This is not something that's done to you or even for you. This is a collaboration. Okay. My job, my goal in life is to help you to free yourself of the chains of the past and to be fully self-supporting, right? For you to do this for you. It's a power. I'm giving you the keys to empower your mind for life. You are far more powerful than you've been led to believe. And I'm here to help you as a certified master trainer of hypnosis to master the subconscious mind so that you can live an epic life. You have no idea what's coming for you. No idea. You can have an idea of your juicy dream life, but you don't even know what's coming. And I am not proposing that you can sit in self-hypnosis and just wait for the money truck to arrive. Okay. No, there are plenty of magic dust peddlers out there. I'm not one of them. But I'll tell you, if you are looking for the change, if you have done all the things and haven't done this yet, right? And you'd like to be programmed for prosperity, then I am incredibly excited to invite you to this 10-week experience is where you're going to get to dive into the methods of self-hypnosis using NLP, what I call wealth activation exercises, which are essentially like the hypnosis with your eyes open, right? And this is how we're going to install the wealth programming so that you can manifest the deliriously happy success that you've envisioned. Yeah. So we're going to meet every week for about an hour. And people typically ask me what's going on. So you're going through the curriculum, which will take you about an hour each week. You'll come in with what's happened since you've gone through the curriculum and tried to apply it, right? So I can listen for the patterns of language that are causing the self-sabotage. I can listen for how your mind is keeping you trapped in the past. And I'll help you to change those patterns on the spot. And I'll coach you on how to remove them, right? And how to remove them, not just for this work around money, but it is for the work in the other areas of your life. This is a program for prosperity, okay? So it's not just around money. It's the other areas of your life that you want to dial in. And that may be your love life. It may be your health. It may be your social life. It could be your creative, artistic life, okay? Whatever is going on that's the saboteur is working, we're going to get that crap out of here so that you can move forward to be programmed for prosperity. And instead, you'll have the most powerful self-supportive language ever. So you're going to learn to change not only your self-talk, your inner talk, but also, this is amazing, magical, it's how you communicate with others. And if you're a coach or a parent, or if you love people, this is magic on its own, right? So you're going to have a new experience of how you communicate with others so that you have a different experience of life as you know it. This is a life of more ease and flow, and literally all by earning more while doing less work. So now, as you consider all of the time that you've already invested into yourself, all the time and money into yourself and into your business, and how many times you've written those same damn financial goals, right? Only to find yourself, in the same place year after year. That's called a financial thermostat, by the way. Or how sick you feel knowing that you have so much more to give, that you have so much more impact to create on planet Earth. And even how you know that if you were earning more, you'd be able to give more, to do more good in the world, right? As you consider that, you're going to want to book a call. And now, and my calendar for one-to-one clients, this is closing rapidly. Plus, for those of you who are ready to make those, fast decisions, that special bonus offers on the table. But you have to act now. So you can go ahead, you can book a link, use the book a call link, And I absolutely am honored to help you to realize your dreams. I'm Melanie McCool, and I look forward to seeing you in person. With that, I'm going to say goodnight, everybody. Bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.